Don't forget everybody, budget sheets, sign sheets, please, thank you.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. It is 9:03. So looking at this, are there any additions or deletions to this agenda?
I have none.
All right, so let's do this budget.
All right. So good morning, everyone. Happy winter solstice. So I presented, and there's copies available in case you didn't get one, but there's copies available of the updated budget. I've been working on this all week. The office has been working on this week all week, Don and myself. And one thing I want to start out with, basically what I'm going to do is go through an overview of the changes that I've made. And then I'm going to provide a little bit of context over some of the numbers that we're seeing, and then a little bit more context about some of the tax issues and the tax revenue that the town could be expecting and things like that. So just to start right from the top here, the budget changes as of 12/19/24. All the numbers in the FY21 budget actuals have been updated, and the percentage of budget change column is reflecting a numerical percentage. So where it says at 6.6, that means 66%, basically, budget to actual. What has been budgeted for fiscal year 25 and what has been actually spent. The one thing that I did do, so right now I included, to give us a fuller contextual picture here of the budget, I included the loan service. We currently have 3 loans. The town currently has 3 loans. Those loans come due in April, May, and June. Singular 1-year payments, so it's we pay a year. They're usually between, there's a 5-year loan, or there's 2 5-year loans, and there's a 10-year loan. So, but those payments come in April, May, and June. But I include, even though they haven't been paid yet, I included them in this fiscal year 25 actual, just to give us a little bit broader context as to the money that we already pre-allocated that we're going to spend, non-incidental expenses that might change. Does that make sense to everybody? So some of the changes that I've made over the course of the week, just starting right from the top. COTS is the filing service that folks pay when they want land records. It was allocated in the budget at an amount that I think was incommensurate with the amount we actually received. We currently receive between $250 and $300 a year in fees from that. Generally, it's revenue for us basically, because the people are paying the town for land records. So I included and changed that in the budget to reflect a more actual amount based on last year and the year before. Line number 21, which was the I believe that was the digital records. Sorry, that was my mistake. I should have included what it was. But the future funds are going to be allocated basically to the correct account. Line 25. So we filed yesterday actually a grant for what they call Better Roads Vermont for a couple of culverts. And we're hopeful that we're gonna get it. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of $18,000 or $16,000 is the grant we're looking for. That amount has been removed after talking with Rick. That amount has been charged against the summer road materials. So basically it's gonna offset part of the cost of summer road materials, and we'll see that as we get a little deeper into the budget. Line 29, now this was a big one because the town has obviously, we have 4 bank accounts. I've been in the process all week long of reducing that down to 1. In fact, it's gonna be 2. Only because Community Bank has given us a very good investment opportunity arrangement, very safe one, it's treasuries. But basically they're paying us 3% on the money that we hold with Community Bank. So we're going to transition our funds to Community Bank, and we're going to hold that money at 3%. It's invested and collateralized as well through U.S. Treasury bonds, which means that it's safe. You know, the FDIC only insures deposits at $250,000. Well, the town can often carry a balance of over $500,000, so we need to make sure our money is protected. Community Bank has set up an arrangement whereby the debt is collateralized through U.S. Treasury bonds, and it's safe. So they're paying us 3%. Obviously, that rate can adjust a little bit for when the Fed rates change. It just changed, but they're still honoring the agreed change by 25 basis points, so about a quarter percentage. They're still honoring the 3% and will continue to do so, even though other money markets are now at 2.75%, which I think is pretty good of our arrangement with Community Bank. And so going forward, I expect a pretty significant return. I include the line item of $15,000 as interest income over the course of the year, and that means that we manage our funds correctly and keep it in that 3% using the funds in the checking account. Yes, sir.
It just seems a little, and maybe I'm wrong, it just seems a little high to me if you take, it means you've got a constant balance of 500,000 in the account always to get to 15,000. I'm not sure that's the case. And if it is, I know the interest rate is lower, but why is interest income so much lower in prior years actually? I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so because the banking arrangement that was previously set up by the town was using National Bank of Middlebury. Now, unfortunately, National Bank of Middlebury was only offering 0.25% interest. The interest income was basically negligible at that point. The checking account that National Bank of Middlebury was offering was 1%. What they call the sweep account, meaning their protected investment account akin to a money market account, is at 1.5%. That's why I chose to go to Community Bank at 3%. Now, as to your point about the town maintaining a balance of about $500,000, I understand and get that, and we can talk a little bit about that when I talk about tax revenue. I can tell you currently the town has $589,058 on deposit between the 2 banks. Again, I haven't consolidated yet. It's Christmas season, things are kind of hectic, so we're still working on that. But
that kind of means that we can only spend 89,000 between now and May.
And again, I'll talk a little bit about that. No, I agree with you. And I'll talk a little bit about that as we get further down into the tax info. And perhaps I can adjust that amount to be more reflective of the fact that the balance will change. But because the tax revenue situation for the town has changed, we are receiving more money. And I'll explain that a little bit after this budget discussion. So thank you for bringing that up. The line 31, miscellaneous highway reimbursement, was adjusted to reflect the actual agreements with the town of Waltham, and fiscal year 26 was budgeted to reflect the anticipated increases. So I spoke to Rick about this. Waltham currently pays us for storage and fluoride, loader fees, and all different types of things. Now, we've been charging them, but it hasn't been accurately accounted in the budget. We're currently receiving, line 31, we currently received $5,700, and Rick expects another $2,500 as the course of the winter goes on for those fees from the town of Waltham, basically paying us to be able to store their salt and things like that. I discussed that number. $7,000 seems like a pretty reasonable amount in Rick's mind as to what our fees are going to be, because our diesel cost to them is going to be increased, our loader rental fee is going to be increased, and the cost of materials is also increased. As to other arrangements with the town of Waltham in terms of that, he would like to see maybe, if we discuss future opportunities, perhaps cost sharing arrangement on siding and maintaining that salt shed over there by the town garage that Waltham currently kind of maintains. He'd like to see it sided and fixed up a little bit because it doesn't kind of match anything else in the town, looks a little run down, obviously. Line 41 and 43, this was a recommendation that the Citizens Budget Committee came out with, and this is the COLAs. I broke basically all the COLAs out. We adjusted them to 3%, which is again reflective of kind of the CPI, what we think the cost of living increase is going to be. Again, that's kind of an estimate. 3% was broken out, given its own separate line item, still charged to the correct account, just so that you can see